The history of China.
I guess.
I guess. So this is not a serious history of China video. Like it's not gonna like be like a guy just speaking like this about the history of China. It's supposed to be funny.
Yes, if you've watched the super popular entire history of the world video, I'm assuming it's going to be similar to that, where it's true factual information, but obviously with a twang.
And very, very simplified. So don't
Yes.
expect this video to be the entire history of China. It's just the history of China.
I guess.
But yeah, if you guys enjoy the video, make sure to subscribe. You can check out our China travel vlogs. We went to China. Yes, we went. And you can check out our journeys there down in the link in the description below. Tri-Fate Lifestyle. Check it out.
China wasn't what we expected?
What? You can see what we think down there. Let's get into it. Here we go.
China is a country in Asia and it's huge! The Yellow River Valley is a great place to live, except floods keep
destroying everything.
Here the engineer stops the flooding, so they make him king. And he starts the Xia Dynasty. After a few kings, things go downhill, so a new tribe takes over. It's the Shang Dynasty. They use bones to talk to their ancestors, and record their conversations using a fancy new language. After a few kings, things go downhill, so a new tribe takes over. Wait, why should we consider you the legitimate rulers, people ask? Because we have the
Mandate of heaven.
If you're a good ruler, heaven supports you, and life is great for everyone. If you're a bad ruler, heaven gets angry with you, and life is bad for everyone. And they're allowed to have rebellions. If
There we
someone
go.
overthrows you, then heaven must be on their side. Seems legit. Everything's going great. Then the king exiles his wife to pick up a new girl, and his wife's dad is angry and revolts, destroys the capital, and kills the king.
Sounds
Guys.
like you lost the mandate of heaven.
Never exile your
Yeah.
wife or her daddy's going to come and become the new king of your house.
Happy wife, happy life, am I right?
Exactly. Mandate of heaven. The dad will overthrow you.
More like the
And now
mandate of wife.
Yeah, I guess.
China's broken.
guess.
Now that there's no one in charge, everyone starts coming up with new ideas, including
picture is so
Taoism,
stupid.
Confucianism, and Now that there's no one in
I
charge,
didn't even realize
everyone
there's no one in
starts coming up
charge.
with new
There's a dog
ideas,
walking
including
himself.
Taoism, Confucianism, and legalism. Sun Tzu just figured out how to fight wars properly and wrote a whole book about it. So everyone goes to war. The king of Qin conquers more and more of China until he unites it all. This isn't a kingdom, it's an empire, which makes him the first
Emperor of China.
Standardize all the things. Language, standardized. Currency, standardized. Weights and measurements, standardized. He runs the country based on legalism, which means strict laws with harsh punishments. If you break the law, then no worries. The government will just kill you, your parents, grandparents, children, grandchildren, siblings, uncles, aunts, and cousins. Don't
Nice.
like
That's pretty
legalism?
intense.
Purged. He builds a wall to keep
I don't know if I could trust all my cousins to not break a law at some point and then
No,
be
and I
murdered.
I wouldn't associate with a lot of the viewpoints of my great whatever's whatever, you know.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to be lumped with them.
That seems like a really rough way because suddenly your third cousin removed by 5 generations breaks the law, and then suddenly they're coming knocking on your door and cutting off your head.
Excommunicado time.
Exactly.
about barbarians.
John
One
Wick
day,
style?
it's going to be a
Oh,
break.
yeah.
He really doesn't want to die, so he looks for the secret to immortality. But just in case he dies, he builds a gigantic tomb with a whole army to defend him in the afterlife. Then he drinks an immortality potion and dies. And now there's a rebellion.
Oh,
Some
no.
random peasant is transporting prisoners and some of them escape. The penalty for letting a
Monopoly
prisoner
Man.
escape is death. So he can either go back to get his death sentence or join the rebellion and overthrow the emperor. So he frees all the prisoners, joins the rebellion, and overthrows the emperor. And then he
way to
reunites
do
all
it.
of China and starts a new dynasty. Now that China is stable again, people start inventing things like paper, a compass, an earthquake detector, and a wheelbarrow. Then they conquer Vietnam. And they're tired of having sad, lame, weak, pathetic, useless horses. So they fight a war to get better horses. Then they beat the barbarians and establish a new protectorate. Anyone want silk? Yes, says the entire planet. So they build a road to the outside world. Legalism sucks.
Silk
Let's make
Road.
Confucianism the foundation of government instead.
The eunuchs have taken over the government.
And the peasants think
Not
the
the
government is too
eunuchs.
corrupt, so they put on yellow hats and start a rebellion. And now China's broken again. Don't worry, happens all the time.
China is home again.
Just kidding. In the middle of this chaos, everyone turns to a hot new religion that traveled up the Silk Road from India.
Everybody loves Buddhism.
People make temples, statues, paintings, and books. The Sui dynasty reunites China. They build a grand canal to connect
So
the empire.
it's interesting
and
how
they
that
extend the
like
Great
works over like time, like the conversions into different religions. I wonder if they were like if they converted from whatever the legalism. Is the legalism a religion? They kind of mashed it in with Confucianism and the other religions.
Yeah, I don't know.
And they're like,
Must
oh,
be.
this one's really rough because if we do something bad or our cousins do something bad, we get murdered. Let's do Buddhism. They're more nice. Is that like
Yeah,
how it
and
works?
It must be, I guess. It just kind of. I'm sure there's some sort of religions where it's more imposed and not enforced on the others, but like with Buddhism, you would guess since it kind of aligns with the religion to just kind of do what you want, you would think that more people just decided to be like, oh yeah, we'll be
'Cause
Buddhist now.
I know Christianity, like compared to like some of the older religions in Europe, like there wasn't really a heaven in the other religions. It was just
Yeah.
go to the underworld. And then Christianity had heaven. So people are like, oh, that's better. Then go into the underworld. I'm going to join that one. So that's
It's
kind of
very,
interesting.
very interesting.
Oh, I don't know.
Wall.
Let
Then
us
they
know in the
invade
comments.
Vietnam, which goes well. Then they invade Korea and fail, and invade Korea and fail, and invade Korea and fail, and invade Korea and fail. The people get
Every
tired
year.
of this, so they overthrow the emperor. It's time for the
Tang Dynasty.
and they invade Korea and succeed. Hold up, the
Wow.
new emperor is a woman. Is that even allowed? It's not allowed. Now that things are stable again, there's a golden
That's
age
very
of art
progressive.
and literature. People
In
write
China,
stories,
that'll
poetry, history,
emperor.
encyclopedias. Feeling thirsty? Have a cup of tea. Everyone's drinking it. Want to read a book? We can print things now. Surprise! There's a rebellion, but the Tang Dynasty survives by
Eating each other to stay alive.
Oh,
need money, steal from
We need
a
others.
30,000?
Peasants are dying from drought.
Stay alive.
20 to 30,000 civilians were eaten?
Oh,
Who the heck was eating them? The rich? Like the kings
I
and
guess-
stuff? And the
or
army?
the army.
Oh man, that would be a rough time. Yikes.
Need money? Steal from the Buddhists. The peasants are
Oh.
dying from drought and famine.
Sounds like you lost the mandate of heaven.
And now China's broken again. Need money? Steal from the Buddhists.
Time to reunite all of China.
Almost. Guess we'll have to share it this time. Now we're so rich we have the best economy in the world. The population increases a ton. People invent new technology like paper money, gunpowder, and better printing. There's
90
new paintings,
million
pottery,
back then is
poetry,
so much.
plays, and puppet shows. The government builds retirement homes, public hospitals, and a postal service. Want a place to relax?
Oh, very
Try going to
modern
the tea
hospital for
house.
that long
Need
ago.
friends? Let's join the exotic food club. Want to play Go? Let's do it after the fireworks show. There's a new dynasty in the north, and they would like to conquer all of China, so they go to war. Meanwhile, in the middle of nowhere, Genghis Khan just decided to
Take over the world.
the Song dynasty allies with the Mongols to fight the Jin, and they win. Then the Mongols attack the Song, and Genghis Khan's grandson declares himself
I don't-
Emperor of China.
I don't
Hey,
know if I would ever trust the Mongols at any situation. They
Yeah.
seem to just take over everyone. They're like the Nazis. They like made a deal with the Soviet Union and they're like, just kidding, we're going to take you over too.
So you're saying don't trust super imperialistic nations?
Yeah, and like psychopathic killers like Genghis Khan.
Yeah, that's probably the big thing.
Japan, you suck, says China. No, you, says Japan. So they send troops to invade Japan, but get killed by the wind. Then they send an even stronger army and have a nice time fighting the Japanese, but get killed by the wind. Some European guy visits China, lives there for a while, and writes a book about how great it is. Then everything gets bad. There's drought, famine, plague.
Sounds like you lost the mandate of heaven.
So some peasants put on red hats and overthrow the emperor. The Ming build one of the most powerful navies in the world and make some voyages to let everyone know how rich China is. Whoa, China's rich. And then they dismantle the navy and forget it ever happened. They build a fancy new
nice.
palace in a city you're not allowed to visit, and they make the wall great again. Art and literature are booming. Look at those Ming vases. The Portuguese would like to build a trading post, so China lends them some land. The emperor doesn't feel like being emperor anymore, so he goes on strike. Then there are famines, floods, an epidemic, and a giant earthquake.
Sounds like you lost the mandate of heaven.
Some barbarians from the north take over,
It's the Qing.
and now everyone has to get this new haircut or die. China
Oh.
expands, the
Oh.
population booms, and everything's going great. Hi, it's the Europeans, and we want
430
better
mil.
trade relationships. Fine, you can trade, but you'll have to do it right here. The British are selling opium, and now everyone's addicted. So China seizes all the opium and destroys it. Problem solved. Knock knock. It's the British with huge boats, with guns, gunboats. Legalize drugs. Stop having drugs be illegal. No, says China. I mean, yes, says China, and they sign an unequal treaty. Now they have to open
I wonder why the British, like, I guess, I mean, their empire was so powerful, but I wonder why they had such, like, so much more power, and, like, their guns were better and their cannons that they could take on China, even though gunpowder was invented in China.
Yeah, it really gave them quite the edge on a lot of countries,
Yeah, they
territories and such.
just roll up in their big boats.
up 5 ports to foreign countries, give away Hong Kong to the British, and pay the British back for all the drugs they lost. Good day, I am the brother of
Jesus Christ.
and it's time to overthrow the Qing and create heaven on earth, says some guy causing the deadliest civil war of all time. Now the Qing is weak and everyone knows
30
it. Aye, it's
million
France. We own Vietnam
dead.
now. Aye, it's
That's
Japan.
crazy.
We own Korea and Taiwan now. Some peasants are tired of all this foreign influence, so they rise up and attack the foreigners. And then the entire world invades China to defend their citizens. The Qing Dynasty, weighing their options carefully, thinks really, really hard about what to do next, and decides to declare war on the entire world. Surprisingly, they lose. And then people revolt and create a
Democracy.
called the Republic of China. But the Qing Dynasty is technically still around, and the new government doesn't have a military. So they ask a guy from the previous government to overthrow the emperor in exchange for becoming president. And he does
6
it,
years
and becomes
old.
president. Then he assassinates the democratically elected leader, dissolves the government, and declares himself the new emperor of China. And everyone gets so angry that
China breaks again.
there's technically still a government, but territories are ruled by warlords. The Nationalist Party is reformed and they want to unify China. The Communist Party is formed and they also want to unify China. Why don't we do it together? So they team up to reunite China. And then the Nationalists betray the Communists, and now there's a civil war. The Nationalists overthrow the government and reunify a piece of China. Then they go back to fighting the Communists, and they're winning. But the Communists make a really long march to safety so they can regroup. Breaking news, Japan is invading China. They take over Manchuria, where they set up a puppet government. The Nationalists want to stop Japan from invading China. The Communists also want to stop Japan from invading China. So they team up again, because it worked so well the last time. Then the Japanese get to Nanjing.
Oh, heck. Was relentlessly barbarian hard. Yeesh. Japanese did a lot of messed up stuff.
That's crazy.
World War II is over and China gets back all of the land Japan stole, including Taiwan. And now we can go back to civil war. The communists are winning and the nationalists are on the run. They retreat to Taiwan and make Taipei the new capital of the Republic of China. The communists take the mainland and declare it the People's Republic of China. And then they try to industrialize in one great leap, which fails and causes the largest famine in human history. And then Mao decides that China isn't communist enough, so they need another revolution, a cultural one. They burn historical sites because they're too capitalist, and they destroy cultural artifacts because they're
That's
too
never good.
capitalist, and they persecute anyone who seems too capitalist. Then Mao dies and the next guy makes China capitalist. I mean,
Socialist with
Yeah.
Chinese characteristics.
wanna protest? Don't. The economy booms and China gets rich and lifts hundreds of millions out of poverty. I'm sure the economy will go up and up forever.
Hey guys.
That's the end of the video.
Quite the end of the video. I'm sure it will up and up forever.
Interesting. I mean, that was obviously very simplified, but why can't people just get along and be happy? There's just too many egos trying to take each other over.
Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? Yeah, it's quite the interesting video. If you want to suggest us,
Oh, your leg. Whoa.
if you want to suggest us like few little sections of this to do more detailed videos on, you can. If you find a video about like a certain event in this video.
I'm sure with all this history, I'm sure if we looked at the history of Europe, I guess there'd be just as much breaking and taking over and breaking and taking over. So it's just human nature to just kill each other. Why not? Messed
Yeah,
up.
it's not specifically the Chinese.
No. But all we know is The Japan did some messed up stuff to China and Korea, and you guys, the Koreans and the Chinese, some of them still have a lot of hatred towards Japan for those things.
Yeah, I mean, there are some pretty crazy things.
Yeah. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. Let us know some good things to check out down in the comments below. And hopefully you didn't take it too seriously. We're just here having fun, I guess.
Yeah, there wasn't really like too much opinion on this, so there's not much to be upset about.
Just asking questions. So answer the questions. And
We'll
don't be
see.
angry.
We'll see what you guys say.
Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.